Good day, everyone. Welcome to Sound Espressivo, powered by virtual concert halls. We are broadcasting today from Vienna, Virginia, and many other places. I'm Anna Uspinskaya. I'm a concert pianist, educator, writer, and I'll be your co-host today.
And hello, I'm Margaret Pinder. I am a classical music manager. I'm also actually a solicitor by training, and although I'm coming to you from Yorkshire in the north of England, I did used to live in the States, so I'm very familiar with where Anna is and where some of our contestants come from.
So the two of us are going to co-host a wonderful presentation today. Sound Espressivo is a new generation of classical music competition, which offers contestants to perform live, broadcast from their own locations anywhere in the world.
Yes, and our panel of judges, it represents, they're drawn from top performing artists and music educators from around the globe. So the Sound Espressivo competition offers an unprecedented array of awards for our musicians.
Our guests on these programs are joining us from their own locations, from wherever they are in the world, and they bring and share their musical gifts, their expertise, their personalities, their dreams.
And we'll be presenting our guests' opinions and their thoughts, and we hope that you, our audience, will benefit from hearing all these varied, diverse, and perhaps sometimes conflicting points of view on classical music, aesthetics, the music industry, the music business, and any other topics which will come up as we make our way through these fantastic programs.
So welcome to our podcast, Meet the Judges, music promoters and managers, and music educators.
No matter where you are or who you are, music connects us all. We started with a dream, but now we are paving the future. Welcome to the Sound Espressivo Global Competition. Fully virtual, yet bringing musicians closer together than ever before, now on a global scale. True live, inclusivity, diversity, connection, community. An extraordinary array of judges. Get noticed by companies all over the world. Prizes, scholarships, performance opportunities. Apply to be a part of the most exciting congregation of artists like nothing you've ever seen before. We guarantee quality and leave no musician behind. We can't wait to hear you on the virtual stage.
Our guests today are four incredible musicians. They are performers, they are educators, tireless supporters of the young and upcoming generation of new musicians coming on stage. We are very grateful to the work which they do, for the input in finding solutions to difficulties which we all face, overcoming barriers, and helping musicians stay active, productive, and creative during these challenging times. Let us introduce pianist Peter Takács, a distinguished performer, teacher, lecturer, and many other things, joining us from Oberlin, Ohio. Welcome, Peter. So great to have you with us.
Hello, Anna and Margaret. Nice to meet you.
Thank you for taking time to join our program. And Peter, what's the better way to introduce a great artist as by introducing his live performance in this new format on this new stage? We're so grateful that you agreed to perform for us.
Absolutely.
Would you mind moving to that most exciting part of the program?
I will go there, and I hope you notice the beautiful paintings of Beethoven in the background.
Yes, we do. Thank you for putting this up.
The young man and the old master.
Yeah.
So
and I've brought Beethoven. I've got Beethoven behind me.
And you have a bust of Beethoven there. Of course,
Yeah.
it's the 250th anniversary, so we celebrate now.
Yes, we do celebrate. Thank you. Oh my goodness, this needs to be
Yeah.
appreciated in total silence, but I can't help it. Oh my God, that is
Thank you.
gorgeous.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
What
you
a-
so much. Yeah.
What a beautiful, warm touch, Peter. You got it.
Sorry, I have to get out of this.
Can you hear us?
No, it pops in from my speakers. We're okay now.
Oh,
But
okay.
I've lost the picture, so I have to go back to where we are.
Yeah, we are right here.
I know.
But if
I
you
think
can
we're
hear
back,
us,
yeah.
oh, perfect.
Oh, it's all good.
Peter, this is incredible, and I admire you for what you're doing and staying so active and so connected and involved. How do you approach your professional activities at the moment? I know it's challenging for everyone. No, everyone with us.
It is quite challenging. Of course, there's no public performances. We've done some things at Oberlin by streaming in front of an empty auditorium, but it reaches out to whoever wants to tune in. So we are connected somehow through the internet. So we are grateful that it's available. I'm doing some recording. I've got my microphone and I've got a video camera. So I'm putting some things on social media and that kind of thing. So keeping active and trying to stay connected.
That's incredible. It takes so much effort, so much learning, and so much courage. Don't you think, Margaret?
Oh yeah, these are challenging times, and we've had to dig quite deep and find reserves that, they are there when you look for them, but we really have needed them, haven't we?
Absolutely,
Individually
Margaret.
and as a community and as a musical community. I think.
For me, the whole kind of internet issue was a learning curve, learning how to use Zoom and how to use various media. But it kind of stretches your capabilities. You have to learn how to use new media and that kind of thing. But what's most central always is the music. So that keeps us all going.
Yeah, and it's so worth it, all the effort. I had to learn, I don't know, I stopped counting how many software programs and different things I never even heard before. And but I keep reminding myself it's all for the connection, it's all for the music which we love and we want to keep alive, right?
And I have to say, Anna, that you're making a great contribution with your work. So thank you for doing it and keep it up. And it's lovely to be together with you.
Thank you, Peter. It's not me, it's our whole community which is firing and moving this forward. And you are a great contributors. Thank you so much. We'll be back with Peter when Peter joins us for a panel discussion. And we have another introduction here.
Yeah, we are going over to introduce flautist Adrianne Greenbaum, who is coming to us again by the joys of the internet from Connecticut. Hello, Adrianne. How lovely to welcome you here today.
Hello.
We're really pleased you're able to join us.
Thank you. I am pleased too.
It's lovely. Now, you're going to play for us as well. So you're going to play a piece. I believe it's a piece you've composed yourself. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yes. It is a Klezmer suite, and
lovely.
and it's not that I didn't do any composing classically, and after all, I'm a flutist, but it came about from my daughter's wedding a year ago, and she asked me to write a piece for her, and it became part of a whole suite, and it also just won a prize in a Brazilian Klezmer festival. I was a finalist, and so I was, completely bowled over and pleased that because of the situation we're in, I got to participate in a festival that I never would have gotten had it not been for, thank you, COVID.
Oh my goodness. Yep, that's incredible that you're reaching out to things that situation can offer, which we maybe overlooked or didn't use or didn't pay attention
Right.
before. That's incredible. You're reaching again to the resources which are there, just like Margaret said, right? They were there, but we were not aware of their need.
Yeah,
Correct.
absolutely.
Correct. And the travel alone that we don't have to spend, nor do the presenters have to pay. So we get, for instance, I'll be on faculty at something called Yiddish New York coming up in December. There's double the amount of faculty now, because nobody has to travel. And last year, for instance, I did travel. Of course, it's not a big travel, but I got a parking ticket. So
No more parking tickets.
No.
well,
Done with that.
yes,
Thank goodness these broadcasting platforms and video calling platforms don't charge us for poorly parked cars.
I did actually manage to get out of the parking ticket by sending a photograph of me lying flat in the road with my double bass on top of me as a joke, and they let me off.
Oh my goodness.
that's good to keep in mind.
Yeah,
Humor sometimes works.
yeah, one of the few advantages of being a bass player. But we're looking forward to hearing your piece.
All right.
Yes, thank you.
So I'm gonna my pianist me. I recorded this earlier, but sometimes she doesn't behave. So let's hope that she behaves. And I'm gonna hit start. Oh boy. Come on. It loses its place. Come on. Oh, I don't believe this. Okay. Here we are.
That's so wonderful.
Thank you.
And you are one in three. You're the composer, you're the pianist, and you're live performing flutist here, right?
Yes, yes.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
Just
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you.
Oh, that's, I have to
Well-
confess. Yes, sorry, go ahead. I was going to say I have a very soft spot for Klezmer, so that's been a real
Oh,
treat
that's
for me.
nice.
I really do, yeah.
Just very briefly, the flute tradition in Klezmer vanished. And I'm sort of responsible for bringing it back. There are various reasons. I'm actually giving a lecture next Monday about all the flutists that did exist, and then were kicked out of the band for who knows what. Could be not enough deodorant or just not enough sound or something.
Too much deodorant.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you said that because I wanted to ask you because I know that the flute isn't one of the more traditional klezmer instruments as far as I'm aware. And I know I'm supposed to be asking you about, we're here to talk about virtual, but I'm just so, I thought, oh, klezmer flute, how wonderful. And that was just terrific. And it
Yeah.
really showed the range of klezmer, the sort of moods, how
Exactly.
playful it could be, how soulful it could be. That was.
I know.
just-
I don't know why we can play as soulfully as the violin can. So, although I'm sure I have a vibrant argument with a violinist on that, but the violin never left. But we certainly did. May I play my classical piece now?
Yeah, I think so. Let me just check because I think
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
That would
we've
be
got
terrific.
time. No, that'd be lovely. I was going to say that was.
Yeah.
I just want to
that's
check
terrific.
that fits. In.
Okay.
That'd be obviously we want to hear you. Yes,
Okay,
lovely.
so it's a piece that all classical professionals should have just in their pocket. So it's in mine, and it's a programmatic piece by Debussy called Syrinx. And if you know the story of Syrinx, Pan wants her to be his girlfriend desperately, and she doesn't feel like engaging, and so she hides herself, and he's very sad.
Lovely. Yes, splendid.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. This is so beautiful.
Yeah, that's just a really wonderful. The two pieces together, a real showcase for how versatile the flute is.
And the flutist.
Yes, because I think you know you've been very positive, Adrianne, which is it's been really impressive about the opportunities. You say, you know, there you were in a competition in Brazil. You're going to be able to go to New York. You know, I feel as though I've had a personal visit with you here in Yorkshire, even though you know there you are in Connecticut. And so I think that's really interesting. You've obviously found a lot of positives to bring out of your work. Obviously, you're talking about composing and performing. How are you finding the teaching aspect, coping with that?
I am really enjoying the one-on-one. The students are reacting in a different way from when they were in the same space, in the same room. You know how we've gotten used to our personal space. So I can get up really close to my students' embouchures. I can ask them to sing. And whereas before they were quite shy, you know, you know, I'm going like this, and they are far more responsive, and they've actually been working, I think, even harder than before. I don't know why that is. It could be because there's more gap time to do this. I don't know. Both my areas, the private teaching and the college teaching, they're really stepping up. And sure, the internet sometimes goes out, but when they're playing and even some crackling, I can tell what they're doing by the kind of blowing I'm used to listening for. Are they putting support in the sound? You know, that kind of thing. I can tell. So I haven't really lost anything. And even dynamics, I say, are you sure you're playing the softest you can? And then they give me, you know, a demonstration of even softer. I said, I knew it wasn't just the internet. It's
That's quite good.
Better, yeah.
Yes, because it's. I think you're the perfect example of one. Polyphony Arts, who I work for, that's the music management agency that I work for. And we collaborate a lot with virtual concert halls. We started a podcast called Music Works in September. And one of our episodes, I think it was the third, they actually talked about using the difficulty. And apparently it was a quote from Michael Caine, the actor, that he had to try and get on stage, and there was a problem, and there was a chair that had broken. The director said, use the difficulty. You know, if it's a you know, gangster, beat you in with the chair. If it's a comedy, fall over the chair. And so I think that's it. I thought that's a great slogan, use the difficulty. And I think you're just a fantastic example of actually, you know, of using the difficulty and actually finding the positives and making something. So that's really terrific.
The only thing, you know, that's negative for us who are not solo pianists is that you either, thank goodness I play piano well, you either record for yourself, you know, and classically that's a little trickier for sound, and just, you know, I can't do the collaborative things with my students the way I used to play piano for them for all their pieces, and now I can't.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Thank you, Adrianne, so much. Now, you'll be rejoining us for our panel discussion at the end when we get all you wonderful people back together at the end. So we'll say goodbye to you just for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrianne, and looking forward to our panel discussion of tons of questions which we prepared. Probably not be able to go through all of them, right? Let us introduce our pianist, Dr. Irene Peery-Fox, who will be joining us from Provo, Utah. Irene, thank you so much for coming online for this program. this has been an incredible journey for all of us to have people like yourself join and share what you're doing and how you're coping and how you're helping your phenomenal students go forward and see the light at the end of the tunnel. Please share with us maybe a few words about yourself and how you're moving forward.
Thank you, Anna. And first, let me give tribute to Anna. This is such a wonderful competition. It's unlike any other, and it's so beneficial for the pianists and all other students around the world. In all the other competitions we've entered, we can make videos and play the pieces until they're perfect and get them absolutely right, and then send in the videos. And this is the one where it's like a real live competition, and you play the piece live for the panel of judges that Anna has set up. And it's such a great experience for them, and they're profiting so much from this goal of being able to enter this competition, and some have. And it's just a novel idea, and leave it to Anna to do that. We are so grateful to you, Anna.
Oh my goodness, Irene, you know this is not me doing it. You know this is a huge community effort on the part of professional musicians and managers and supporters. Everyone is putting their absolute best and the absolute enormous amount of energy, you yourself included, in creating this opportunity for all of us to stay connected, to feel the music being alive. And just thank you so much for adding your energy to that. How is your studio moving forward?
Oh, the studio is moving forward really well. I just learned how to do a lot of technology, a lot of Zoom, and we do all the private lessons via Zoom, and plus recitals and master classes. And it's working out really well. It's one profession where we don't need to stop what we're doing. We can just continue right on with Zoom. And the only downside that I can see is sound. And I'm not always sure that I'm hearing the correct sound via Zoom. But using part of your technology, the mics and the Blue Yetis and all the right setups, it's working out great. In fact, it's really good. I'm so happy that we haven't missed a beat on being able to continue on with the lessons and the recitals and so forth. But this is a whole new technology that you've set up. And I wanted to also pay tribute to all the students in this competition, and talk for a minute about what they have to go through to prepare for something like this. I know in my studio, I have a list of things that I require my students to do to prepare for a recital or a competition. And it takes hours of practice to get to the perfection level. And we say there's no such thing as perfection, but actually when you hear these competition players play, they're close to perfect. So we have to aim for perfection, even though there is no such thing as perfection. But we still have to aim for that, because even if you have wonderful musicality, which is number one, that's what we have to have, is beautiful musicality. It is all hidden by sloppy technique. So developing a perfection in our studio is an important part of being able to participate in something of the caliber of Anna's competition. And I have a list of things that I have my students do to achieve this perfection. For one thing, I have a couple of plaques that I've got all typed up and framed in my studio that say, performing is a vital part of performing. And so we have to practice performing. We can't just jump on the stage of our virtual competition and play perfectly if we haven't given dozens of performances prior to that. And practice makes perfect. And I heard Anna say this in the warm-ups today. And so I think that's a slogan that we all live by in our studios. But some of the other things these students have to go through is in the practicing, and I was just speaking with my student this week about this, you have to know each hand alone by memory, so practicing each hand alone. And this takes hours of time to do all this and to know the correct practice procedures and practice slowly so that you get this accuracy. I was teaching one of my students this week how to play a passage slowly and loudly And that it was a passage that goes pianissimo. And then when he turned around to do it pianissimo, it was a beautiful, perfect pianissimo. So sometimes doing opposite techniques that are what required really helps. And then section work, being able to have 2 or 3 sections on each page that you can begin with, so that solidifies your harmonies, it solidifies your memory, and then the final thing, like I said, is performing. And these are all techniques that the students have to go through in order to be eligible to play at a level to be in one of these competitions. And it takes hours of work, and I just pay tribute to all of the competitors in this competition who are so well prepared and who play so well and have done such an incredible job to be able to even be in this competition. And I wish them all good luck. And I've learned these all these various techniques from 2 degrees at Juilliard, my bachelor's and master's, and my doctorate from Peabody, where I studied with Leon Fleischer, which is, you go there already knowing your technique. It's musical. Study with him. And what a great musician. But I pay tribute to all of you students that are entered and wish you good luck.
Irene, thank you so much. Yes, it takes enormous patience and enormous amount of incredibly hard and focused work on the teacher's part to help young musicians prepare for something like a high pressure performance. And now they're stepping on a stage which did not exist, or maybe it existed but wasn't part of their habitual stage for years and years. And all of that has to be brought to the spotlight of a completely new experience. And it takes a lot of pressure on the teacher as well to be able to help them prepare because this is almost like preparing for unknown, right?
Right. In fact, I noticed as my student was performing for the panel in the preliminaries, he felt the same sense of nervousness as a live performance. And I mean, that's so important now when we can't go out on the concert stage. It's a different feeling when you're actually performing live for someone than when you're making a video. And that's one of the greatest values I see of this competition, is that they feel those same nervous pressure feelings that they do when they're walking out onto a concert stage. I mean, they're sitting at the piano and all of a sudden, okay, you're online, you're on the air, and it's the same nerve-wracking feeling.
Yeah, exactly. And it also provides an opportunity for performers to learn how to harness that energy of, people live with stage fright, fear, but in the end, it's a big influx, a wave of energy, which can be a channel towards this moment uniqueness of a performance, the inspiration.
Absolutely. It's such a great opportunity for them in this awful day of the pandemic when they can't go out and have those opportunities. And so thank you so much, Anna, for these opportunities for all these students around the world.
Thank you, Irene, for your trust in our ability to manage this new technological machine, which needs the support of this, and actually provide adequate sound and picture quality to really adequately bring out the beautiful sound of your students and all the other players. It's a new machine. We're still learning how to operate it, and we're trying our best, but we believe it does carry through the real life sound and real life emotions and musicality of the musicians. So thank you very much, and we will bring you back in for a couple of other questions which we would like to discuss as a panel after we complete the individual presentations of our guests. Irene, please stay with us, don't leave. And we will be introducing one more guest today. Right, Margaret?
Yes, indeed. We're very pleased. Our fourth and final guest is pianist Ksenia Nosikova, who's joining us today from Iowa City. And Ksenia teaches at the University of Iowa School of Music. So welcome to us. Last but by no means least, we're very pleased to see you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Good afternoon. I've been sitting here listening to gorgeous Beethoven, beautiful composition by Adriana and Debussy, and thinking, what a wonderful experience. I mean, it's so inspiring just to hear a combination of life, through the technology. And so if you ask me, I kind of know the routine now after watching my colleagues going through, so I can just jump in. For me, the adjustment was not easy. First of all, I think that as pianists, we spend so much time alone, just with our own instrument, trying to achieve, our own goals, that for me, one of the hugest, amazing aspects of my profession was traveling. Traveling to different places, experiencing new halls, playing different instruments, and especially when they're really good ones, and meeting new people. Have an opportunity to go and have a drink after a concert with friends. And so there was all a wonderful package that I've taken for granted for so many years, just being able to have these experiences. So when live performances were not possible anymore, and my whole concert season was canceled, or actually 18 months in advance were canceled, I thought, what I'm going to do. And so I've thought a lot, and I decided that I'm going to spend my time, my personal creative time, focusing on recording more. And, I had several recording projects that were sitting kind of on the back of my piano. And it's like, oh my God, I wish I could record this, this CD, but I never had time because, I had other performance responsibilities, and I needed to learn some different repertoire, concerto. So I never gotten my hands on them. And so I thought, okay, well, this is going to be great because at the University of Iowa, we have a new music school building now because, we lost ours several years ago, and so now we have fantastic concert hall, and we've had a wonderful Steinway that we just purchased not too long ago. And so now what I've been doing for this particular last 4 months, I am recording the Aus meine Tagenbau by Max Reger, and that's Opus 82. There's 35 pieces, so it's over 2 hours long. And, I don't have to schedule a recording session now to go somewhere. I can actually record as I learn. So that was my personal adjustment, just to keep myself sharp, as I call, my mind, my ear, and my hands are staying in good shape. And it's been a wonderful experience for me because I wouldn't be able to focus as much on this project if I had other performances. Do I want to continue doing it for several years to come? I don't think so. I am looking forward to a concert stage. I look forward, to going back to what I love, playing live concerts. With this said, I have to tell you that when I look at my kids, I call them kids, when I look at my piano kids, it's been a very difficult adjustment for them as well. And I loved what Adriana was talking about, like spinning the difficulty and turning it into the positive. And so what we've tried to do now is to use the technology. I teach from home only because I have older mother who lives with me, so I stay very safe. And we started with Zoom, and Irene was absolutely correct. The sound was such a big issue. Students had to pre-record their performances, and I would listen and we would discuss. So I really missed the live sound, the instant response sound through Zoom. But, done some research. I talked to many piano friends just to figure out what they're doing. And yes, there are programs like the one that we're using today. One of them is Clean Feed. And, so it just took me some time to figure out how to use the technology that I actually can teach instantaneously with live sound and with very little distortion, which actually helps to hear the nuances. And so in the way my teaching, I think, has changed, because I'm teaching much more detailed now. Because, it's right into your face. I'd have to teach with headphones. So, you hear very, very small details. And so from this point of view, that kind of the speakiness of listening, I think, has been a very important sort of, I think, positive element of the situation. And as funny as it sounds, but when students record, recording has become a teaching tool for me. Because, I used to tell them, well, why don't you record yourself? You'll know what I mean. So now they do it so often that they are also developing a very kind of, critical, I think, ear for details and for actually connecting what they think it sounds like, what it actually sounds like. I'm trying to stay positive here before I go into negatives.
I think it's very interesting what you say about how, the personal journey you've taken, because one of the things about COVID is, it's meant a lot of us have had to, go quite inward. And in one way, that's a perfect space to be in if you want to do your own work and do your own recording. And how you say that's actually allowed you to enter that space. And then you also picked up on something that Irene also said about how, and I agree with you, you said how difficult it is for young people. I really feel for them, because they're at a time when they are going very inward, not always in a good way at that age, but also they need to be out. They need to be out being with other people, being with their peers, doing all that growing, socializing thing that you need to do when you're a teenager. And that's in many ways been taken away. And I do wonder if, in fact, the chance to play and practice and perform does actually help compensate a little bit for that. I do hope so, because I agree with you that our young people, and many of them are in this competition, are some of the ones I think that really have suffered at the moment. So I'm glad to think there's some kind of creative outlet that's helped to carry them through as well, and that they've found their place and their creative space within that.
I think that COVID is actually one of the true testing tests that as musicians we face, because so many things are so difficult now. So I think if you look at it as what makes a true musician a musician is the love of music. So if you have this internal need to practice your instrument, or sing or compose or create or write, it will help you through these difficult times. That because of course we don't have the external stimulation as much, and for me the external stimulation will be performances, will be the audience, will be the response of the whole, where you can sort of feel it. Feel it when the sound is just right and the audience is responding right. I mean, you cannot duplicate it with anything else. I think that's just it. But as far as strengths and the passion that you have inside, that's what's been tested right now.
Yeah, and it seems to bring even more energy and more power and more strength out of professional musicians. We get guests coming on the program, all finding their own new positive ways to actually use the situation to improve, to go forward in ways they didn't plan or were not prepared or were not focused on. And it seems like it can be turned into an enriching experience, unbelievable to say. Um, it seems like nothing can be good about the situation, but some things can be made helpful.
Yeah, and I think the truth for me, I don't see the generations that we're raising. I mean, that's experiencing this at this young, very, very
Impressionable, yeah.
impressionable age. I have a 16-year-old daughter who is a violinist who is thinking of going into music. So I'm witnessing it myself. How tough it is not to have the performances, not being able to play quartet, for example. She loves it, and so the reality is that this generation will never be the same. I mean, it affects them in a way that we'll see down the road the results of it.
Maybe
Also-
maybe it'll build more resilience. Yeah, we will be bringing back the other three distinguished
Yes.
guests and discuss some more of those very hot and very hard and important topics for everyone. And welcome back, Peter. Welcome back, Adrienne. Welcome back, Irene. Thank you again. And congratulations, first of all, to all of you and all of your students who were selected to be semifinalists in the Sound Espressivo competition. And they will be coming up on board of this virtual stage just a few days later during the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday live broadcasts of the nominations, semifinals of the Sound Espressivo competition. Bravo to all of your work, to the courage, to the encouragement you give to the students and guidance and everything which brought them to this success. This is just so heartwarming to see young musicians dedicating their time, energy, and talents to live music performance. Bravo to all of you. Thank you for your support. And and Margaret has a few questions which we would like to pass on and start a discussion. How did you prepare? How did you help your students prepare for this very new format? I'm sure you had a lot of pushback from some of the students, at least, who said, maybe not. So please share with us any specific preparation techniques or advices and guidance you gave to your students to bring them to this success.
I'll volunteer something quickly. For the Beethoven year, my studio was planning to play all Beethoven variations, some of which are very seldom played. And it just happens that my student who was in this competition wanted to learn the Eroica variations, which is incredibly challenging and it's a magnificent work. So we spent some time listening to the Eroica Symphony, of course, and the Creatures of Prometheus, which is based on the same theme. And this particular boy is very adventurous and is interested, like I am, in various manuscripts and autographs and all that kind of thing. So it was a partnership with, I won't say his name, I don't know if they're anonymous for the competition, but our variation project didn't happen because everything got canceled, but he managed to learn and do very well with the Beethoven Eroica variations, which is not that often played because it's quite demanding. And he has some humor and some rustic kind of Beethoven folk elements, but it also has profound music in the adagio, and he has a towering fugue at the end. So I'm very proud of him. And it was a pleasure to work on this great piece with a talented student.
I'll jump in here a little bit. Is that all right?
Yep, please go ahead.
So in my case, my student said to me, I haven't played live in so long. It's getting to be very challenging. And I suggested that she pretend. I don't know if this is a true story. I think it is, where I told her that Itzhak Perlman was told by Dorothy DeLay to prepare every detail of his day and repeat that same routine every single day. You go to the to the diner and have your same breakfast. You take your tux to the cleaners, you pick it up. You go through the same thing, and then when you do finally perform, it's not as new. It's the stress has become routine. And with this, I said, you need to play for your family, and if they've heard enough, do what I did a few years ago. I was preparing for a very stressful but wonderful opportunity, and I didn't have anybody to play for, so I took advice from one of my former students by putting up stuffed animals in front of me and performed for them. And I said, don't think for a moment that it's not real. You must walk into the hall, walk into the room, and you have an audience. And so that's what we've had to do for this kind of new experience where she said to me, I haven't played live in so long. I said, you have to pretend every day, just like we did. Do you remember in those days, we older folks, when we went into our lessons, for me, it was like a performance. And our teachers, both of mine, asked it to be like that, or presented that kind of atmosphere. And in fact, when I played my graduate recital, the teacher came up to me afterwards and he said, where was that? All these weeks, where was that you brought? And I said, that's a performance. And I've encouraged that with certainly when it's time to be ready for the performance, then treat your lessons the same way. That's all we can do. But having no audience is a real challenge.
Yes, Adriana, I think you've hit on something there that may be one of the things about the competition is that although the students are not our contestants are not performing to a live audience in the same space, and we all miss that, and you can't get that substitute of that kind of generous exchange between the performer and the live audience in real time. But given that that's lacking in the competition, I wonder if the feeling of the fact that there is actually going to be a response to it, you will get a response because it's a competition, you will get feedback, but people are listening to you with real attention. So I wonder if that was I'm just interested in what your thinking might have been about why you may have recommended that your students enter the competition or consider doing so. Irene, I wonder if you had thoughts on why it was you said to your students, I think this would be a good thing for you to do.
Right. Well, my students are used to performing quite a bit and to entering competitions. I believe in competitions. I believe that they're good and that they create motivation and encouragement. And it doesn't matter whether you're a winner or a loser, they're there to help you improve. And so I have several students that are doing the same as Adrianne, that are saying, I haven't performed in so long, and making a video is so different than actual performing. And so this was an opportunity for them to actually perform because they know that the judges are there. They know that they're being listened to right on the spot. They can't do it over again. And I can remember Leon Fleischer, my teacher for my doctorate, telling the students that they should perform even if it's mentally. And in this case, what he said is imagine yourself in your tuxedo or your gown that you're going to play in, and imagine yourself backstage of the concert hall, or in this case, I told him to imagine himself in a concert room with a good piano, with knowing that judges were online listening to him, kind of like the stuffed animals. They are there and they are listening. You have to put yourself in that mode. What Csikszentmihalyi says, the great psychologist said, you can give yourself your own performance if you imagine yourself doing this performance mentally. And that's what Leon Fleischer was saying. Imagine yourself in the tux and backstage, and imagine yourself walking on stage and in your mind playing every one of your pieces, taking your bows, playing every piece perfectly. There's no such thing as perfect, but we try for it. And taking your bows, and at the end, having a big applause and taking your bow and walking off stage. And to do this at night, in bed, where you have to imagine every note. I tell my students, take your music to bed, put it by your bedside, because you're going to have memory lapses. You're going to have to turn on the lights and see exactly what that note was. But believe me, after you've been through that routine several times, you know your music. And so that's mental performance, which you do regardless of whether you have a live performance. But in this case, they were able to do that mental performance and really know that someone was listening to them because somebody was online listening to them. And so it created that same situation, which I think is just phenomenal that Anna's figured out how to do that and her team.
Thank you, Irene, so much. Ksenia, would you like to add something to why you proposed and supported your students to enter the competition, and how did you guide them through the prelims to such a success?
You know, I always think that in some ways, the only thing that I know is what my experiences are in some ways. So I kind of try to put myself into the shoes of, other musicians, kind of from the point of view, how would I feel and what would be my reaction, what would be my thinking when I am in the situation like that. And so I was fortunate enough that I actually had a couple live stream concerts this year. And one of them was not really a true live stream because there was a very limited amount of audiences that was allowed. We had like 10, 15 people. But the other one was like really true, true program. And so I find that live stream playing mentally and psychologically is harder than true live concert because you don't think about mic being next to you. You sort of go with the initial sort of sense of walking on stage, and so but for me, mic, as Irene was saying, for me, mic is the one that requires perfection. Of course, competitions day where you have to be perfect, but when I go on stage, I just want to do well, and I want to do my best. Is it going to be perfect? Not, and I mean, it's never perfect, but I just want to do my best. So mic, personally, for me, is something that's an extra challenge or extra
a judge in a way.
A judge, yeah. And so for me, that would be something that, I will be working, I've been talking a lot to the student that at some point you have to turn off the sense of awareness of this technology that's on stage. And the only thing that works for me, it's actually listening to what I'm doing. But I think that comes just from years of doing it. So I don't have a solution. I actually would be curious to see how it works because, I've done some kind of technology competition. One of them is like, with e-piano, like disc claviers. Mm-hmm. But it's also still different because there are people present even in the, recording round. So I wonder, are the competitors allowed to have audience when they record? If, for example, they have a little hall?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. For the next rounds, these are public rounds, and everyone is welcome to use their imagination and find environments and solutions which suit them best, of course.
So you can actually have people in the hall listening to you,
Absolutely.
to your performance.
That's a
Okay.
brilliant idea, and we hope very much the contestants, their supporters, parents, and other teachers are watching this program. That's a great idea. Yes, bring your family, bring your friends. If you're in the environment where you can do that in the current conditions, with lockdown, some people may not be able to. But if you can, if your area allows you to do that, please, by all means, do that.
Well,
Yes.
Iowa does. Sorry.
Absolutely, this would help, of course, the contestants, and that would probably create even more new additional support to the
It
environment.
just seems
in
like,
which they perform.
even one or two friends in the audience, someone who is there, who is, routing for you is better
Excellent
than an
idea.
empty hall.
Yeah,
okay.
excellent idea. And I, as a pianist, had performed probably a couple of dozen concerts in live stream setting since the pandemic, and maybe more. And I have to share that I started by totally freaking out. And just like you, Ksenia, said, the presence of the microphone and my previous experience of only being in the presence of the microphone in the very special environment of the recording studio when I'm recording my CD or something. And that's a different experience from performing in the concert hall. That was intimidating, very intimidating. So my first performance, which I did for the Kennedy Center, here in Washington, D.C. And me and my husband, we were the first classical musicians to get on board and perform live through the live streaming program of the Kennedy Center. I thought I was going to pass out. It was just so nerve-wracking. I don't even know how I lived through it. But I have to share that with every next performance, for me personally as a performer, I kept discovering new ways of feeling more and more in my element doing this. And the audience, which is behind the camera and behind the microphone, is there for me now. I didn't feel it in the first concert. I didn't feel it as much in the second concert. But as I develop my programs, develop my audience, and I know there are people watching, and we take in comments from people, it started to become real for me. And even more so now, I imagine a whole wide open world potentially being able to listen to my concert, and that's very invigorating and very empowering for me as an artist personally. That's my personal journey through this process. And we will be presenting the contestants in the semifinals. And of course, for every one of them, that's going to be a different experience. And of course, everyone will be biting their nails. Am I going to pass to the finals or not? That's the nature of the competition. What do you expect for your students who will be performing in the semifinals, experience-wise? Anything you would like to comment on that, your expectations from the upcoming broadcasts, which will be happening on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
Well, just preparing the students for competitions, they always try to think about who are the judges and what will the judges think and so on. And the thing that I have to tell them is that you can't control what the judges think. It's outside of your, control.
Good point, Peter.
Yes, that is.
I know that there's a Russian judge and there's a French judge, so I should play French music the way the French like it, and I should, you
Oh,
can't
that's
do
such a good
that.
point.
You twist yourself into a pretzel, so I think that,
Even before you play the first note, absolutely.
Yeah,
you know,
that's very good.
you have to play with your conviction and you have to play the way you believe. And if you happen to be lucky enough that the judges like you, then you win. And if they don't like, of course, if you play badly, then that's an issue. But if you play well and you don't win, it just happens to be that the particular constellation of people didn't go your way that particular time. So play with conviction, play the way you believe. Don't try to please the judges. That's one of my instructions for playing in competitions, and it's worked pretty well. They play sincerely and with honesty and with commitment, and then the rest is out of their control.
They absolutely do. And that is such an incredibly important advice to every performer in every environment. The convincing performance is the one which is in sync with what the artist really wants to say, regardless of how
Yes.
it's perceived. Yeah, Peter, this is such a golden advice. I hope people are listening because everyone should take that as a very, very serious, important starting point for
Yeah,
their performance.
yeah, I would agree with Anna because I think it's a very important point because when you're performing, you should be your own strictest critic. Any artist should be their own strictest critic, and if you can't be your own strictest critic, really, then you are going to struggle. And so, what you should do is perform for yourself, because whatever, as Peter says quite rightly, you can't influence the judges. But if you can do the best possible performance for yourself, then that will carry over. And if you don't worry, it's like, oh no, there's a French judge, they're going to hate Russian music. If you play Russian music with the conviction and passion that you have for that music, they will love you. They will. It will come through. So I think that's a terrific point, actually.
You know, I sometimes,
Yes, please.
sorry. I think the
sometimes, Irene, are you trying to go? Sorry, I couldn't hear. Okay, go ahead, please.
The best way to have that conviction, I think, is first of all to be really well prepared technically, but the second thing is to become the composer, to follow the score. I think you have a better chance of pleasing every judge if you follow the score of the composer precisely and bring what the music says to the judges. Don't try to create something from yourself as much as trying to become the music yourself and project Ravel, project Rachmaninoff, project Bach, project every idea that they had for their music, and to become one with their score, to become one with their dynamics, to become one with their tempos and their voicings and their sound. And I think that's the best way to become convincing as a performer and be able to please several judges from different nationalities.
That's a terrific point, Irene, you're making. Exactly. Let's bring the composer on the board and be our friend and our supporter in being convincing. Sounding true to the intentions of the composer brings that mammoth musician and helps fuse the energy and conviction. Yeah, this is such a good point. Ksenia, you wanted to add?
No,
Well, mine is kind of a practical, one of the practical suggestions I tell my students that they go and compete. Don't read the booklet before you play. You know, just go like that. Your mind is blank, so there is no unnecessary information floating there. You know, you can study it after you finish your performance.
That's right.
As long as a student did last, you say study the booklet. I had a student finish her concerto competition, and I said, so just curious, what did you wear? And she said, well, it was virtual, so I just wore a T-shirt. Well, it said even in the rules, please dress appropriately as you would for any competition. Oh, I didn't read that.
Well, there's always one, isn't there?
Oh,
So-
but I
There always
also
is.
wanted to say, along the lines of sharing the composer's words, of course we want to. I like to bring it to a side level of bring your own creation that has absorbed the notes on the page and the dynamics and the composer's intention, and then in a way perform as if you are creating on the spot something fresh, even for yourself. Just have that freedom of surprise and spontaneity, and don't lock yourself. I think that sometimes stifles the performer into thinking, well, I didn't do exactly what it said. I mean, okay, if you had prepared, Yes, you would. And then bring that to life and maybe go even louder or softer than you did before and think of it as something, a spontaneous creation from here and here as well as the composer's intention.
That is great advice. You know, we practice so much and prepare, and we try to be obedient to the score that sometimes it's possible to sound a little bit programmed, as if you kind of everything is cast in stone. And what you're saying, Adrianne, is really important to make it sound as if it's the first time you're playing it, or maybe it's a premiere from 1864 or whatever. So you know, even if it's like the Appassionata or the first ballade, you know that it's completely spontaneous, as if you're creating something anew. And it's hard to do because we try to be so prepared, but at the last moment, you know, you have to let go and just let it be fresh and spontaneous.
Yes, I suppose one of the reasons you have to prepare so thoroughly is so that you're not worried about the technical side of it. You've got to get to the point where your technical mastery is such that you can actually let that take care. You've got to let that take care of itself, so you can actually do exactly what Adrian has described. So I wonder, I just look at it. So there are we've got all these lovely prizes, and Anna and I are both interested to know which prizes you think will be the ones that would benefit your students.
I have no idea what the prizes really.
I'm not sure what the prizes are
Anna.
Well, that's a good
my-
moment to announce a
Yes.
few prizes. So we have 16 management companies on board sponsoring a variety of prizes, and they vary from scholarships to future summer programs. Like the Colburn School is offering a full scholarship for a student to attend a summer piano symposium that is of interest to pianists, I suppose, and that's going to be happening in 2021. Then we have a very forward-looking company, Group Muse, which had been in existence for a while, for some years, which moved its activities to online with the COVID, and that company is sponsoring an award of a full program concert, live-streamed concert, which they will they call it a spotlight concert, which they will advertise through their 160,000 supporters and subscribers, which I hope would benefit someone with a jump start maybe of their career. And we have a whole variety of educational prizes coming from iClassical Academy, which launched its program of huge library of master classes, courses, and other educational materials from best musicians around the world. So they're offering to sponsor subscriptions and individualized programs for contestants who are continuing their education. And I can go on and on. We have Carnegie Hall performances for select winners. We have a tour to Malaysia to perform live concerts in the season 2021-2022. And Virtual Concert Halls is offering a public performance on its platform for winner or winners, solo performance, a recital, which will be broadcasting and showcasing the winners. So it's 16 companies, not to mention there are companies which offer artistic profiles, both as in the form of a new website for an artist and graphic artistic profiles, video artistic profiles. We have companies from as far as Finland, the United Kingdom, and United States, and other countries adding their energy. We have several management companies which will be providing coaching and learning how to manage your own educational goals and career goals as a performer, and potentially even signing up musicians to be on their roster. We have a management company from the United Kingdom, Polyphony Arts, and another management company from New York, Momentum Artists, who are offering a whole spectrum of services to musicians who are ready, depending on what they feel this particular artist is ready for. So that's like a little overview of prizes. But if anyone is interested in more details, please go to the Sound Espressivo website and click on prizes.
These are
That's
amazing.
really remarkable. Yeah,
These are
if I may,
amazing.
Okay.
So
it's
different from
fantastic.
anything. Yeah. I was afraid, actually, when we finished filling out a form that we had to do, then up popped a food delivery. And I thought, oh, is that one of the prizes?
That's a good idea. We should think about it.
Yeah.
Food delivery is a prize. Very
Very
practical,
important
very
these days.
helpful in current situation.
Now, I have to say what impressed me, Anna, from what you said is, we have these competitions which compete in the size of the prize. The latest one in China was $100,000 for the winner. And I just find it kind of absurd in a way, just throw a bunch of money at somebody. Why give them a nice prize, but then also give them a chance to study with great masters, to play for conductors, to attend summer festivals, or to develop musically and intellectually. So what you're offering has so much more variety than the usual competition, which has a cash prize. Sometimes there are other things, but it's the most important thing is for these young musicians to keep developing and to have more experiences to make them greater artists. So congratulations to you, and I'm going to look at the small print when we're finished here, so I know what's coming up.
Yeah, Peter, thank you very much for that encouragement. That was the idea when we started to approach management companies and other companies which are involved with musicians and with the performing and music educational industry. We started asking them what would they believe would be helpful to offer to the contestants, because a lot of times, and myself included, the first prize I won money and I won concerts, and trust me, the money went out the window very quickly. I don't even remember what I spent it on. But the opportunity to perform, which followed my prizes, was the most important and pivotal event in my personal life and career, because that's what moved me forward as a performing artist and opened the world for me. And those opportunities, meeting people through those opportunities, was the actual prize, even though the cash price tag on that was probably not as big as the actual prize I won. But like I said, I don't even remember where I spent the money. And a lot of times young musicians and their families and parents, even if they win the money, then the next question is, what do I spend it on? And it's not easy to know how to best spend the money so that it benefits the future of this musician.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did you not list that there was cash awards also?
There are some cash awards. They're not as significant as the opportunities, but yeah, there are some cash awards too.
Because my student, for example, has completed 3 semesters at Manhattan School of Music, but could not go back because he couldn't afford the final semester, which is, and the semesters are $10,000 a semester. So he has to wait until he can afford that last year, not just a semester, but a year. And so I think sometimes cash awards for education are really important. Plus the performance opportunities are just fantastic.
Both are important for musicians. Yes, please go ahead.
My input on some prizes from other competitions do offer, for instance, my student competing already won her Carnegie Hall debut. She won first prize. Great. Along with that was supposed to be guidance and perhaps even management. And it was a bye-bye. Thanks for playing. We weren't even allowed to, record the debut performance. And, I have had some doubts from then on. This was a couple of years ago. I've had doubts when people say, we will give you this and that. And then just almost as soon as the last note is played, the lights go out in the hall, and they said, well, keep in touch. Okay. So the student did, and nothing, absolutely nothing afterwards.
That's a good point, Adrienne. You brought up. It's time to accept for many managers and competition organizers that the trust needs to be rebuilt. And trust is an incredibly important and valuable part of our profession. We trust our partners to play the right notes at the right time. We trust our managers to follow up on their promises. And a lot of that had not been what we would like it to be. So we as a community of musicians have influence over it. We need to stand up by our own word and hold people responsible for the word they give to us. I believe you're absolutely right. It's time to rebuild the trust.
Yeah, there has to be, there's so many competitions that, have the jury students are involved, and so they often win because their teacher is on the jury and that kind of thing. And, there's been, like you say, a breach of trust. Some competitions invite many, many participants for a certain application fee. And then they get to play at Carnegie Hall, and then they have to pay another fee to have their photograph taken in Carnegie and so on. And then, like Adrienne says, then it's goodbye. So it's a money-making scheme for the sponsors. And so it's really important that, when my students say I want to do this competition, to look into it, to make sure that it's legit, that it's honest, and that they have a good reputation and that kind of thing. So.
That's incredibly important, Peter. Yep. And it's the Sound Espressivo. The plan is we plan to follow up on the contestants who are prize winners and finalists. And we will put our spotlight on their performances. If they were awarded the performances, we plan on following up their educational prospects. If they won scholarship, we want to follow and see how they benefited from the experience. So we plan to not just keep in touch, but keep following the finalists and the winners of our competition, because we want to see them grow and we want to see that trust rebuilt. I think that's incredibly important for everyone in the industry. So before we conclude this program, I would like to ask everyone if you would please share maybe a very quick wrapping up, finalizing or summarizing message to everyone who is watching and will be watching this program after it concludes, with just a few words of encouragement to musicians, contestants, educators, everyone in our industry, in our field. Let's start with Peter. You were first to perform. Maybe you'll go first with your message.
All I can say is what I've said before. The most important thing is the music. Keep that passion alive. What I advise my students is there's a music business, and it's very important. You have to know how to network. You have to know how to present yourself, do resumes, it's that kind of thing. But ultimately, you have to keep a space inside your heart that is very pure and has to do with your relationship to the music itself. So, we have a pandemic now. There may be other issues in the future, but that connection with the soul of the music is the most important thing, and don't ever lose that.
And I'll jump in with, it's important for the students to keep it going, and it's very, very difficult to have a reason. Their reasons have been to play for themselves and play for others, and it's a new world, and motivation to do this is so key. And I wanted to note that the categories for this competition were unlike any competition. Is it virtuosic, category? Is it an emotional category? Is it, artistically bent. I thought that the categories were very inspiring for our students, and to keep in mind that what they're doing is offering the audience and their future audience joy and an emotional receptor for their emotions. And if the public school system could join in somehow to bring about music having more meaning in their education, and what music does for our brains and therefore our heart, or vice versa, is another benefit.
And I would say, play from your heart, play from your soul, project your love of every note that you're playing, and project that love of every note to the people you're playing for, and all your hard work will pay off. Make sure that you're well prepared so that you can do that you're well prepared technically and emotionally, and just let your music be an explanation of your feelings and your heart and the way you feel about each composer and the way you feel about what you're doing in life, and bring your experiences in life to your music and feel every note you're playing and have a good time. Once you've done all the hard work, it's time to enjoy. It's time to enjoy what you're doing and to enjoy your performing and offer a gift to those who are listening to you.
And what I'd like to say is that as musicians, we're fortunate to have music as being part of our lives. And the life of music is endless. So the possibility of personal growth as a musician is endless too. So this competition is a step in gaining experience and maybe getting opportunities. But the final goal, never-ending goal, is to get better and better and better.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much. This was just incredibly enriching for me in spiritually. I'm very inspired by everybody's participation and comments, and a lot of practical advice too.
Yeah.
So about how to prepare, how to keep the nerves from boiling over, and how to train yourself for the new stage. I mean, that was such an enriching program. Thank you all so much for sharing your time, your expertise, Margaret.
I think so. I mean, we've covered, because music covers so much, we've covered the everyday hard work, the technical stuff, we covered philosophy, we've covered the emotional part, we've covered the psychology of it. I think it's just been an absolutely terrific conversation.
And don't mention that we covered some business approach to that career
That's
and
also
benefits.
part of it. That's part of it too.
Definitely part of it.
So,
Just
Yeah.
so lovely to be here together with my colleagues. Very inspiring to listen to you and to meet you. So, hopefully we meet in person in the future.
We'll
Yeah.
plan on that.
absolutely.
Yes, let's please plan on.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. I'm very grateful. I say, here I am on a different continent, but I'm very grateful to have been part of this conversation. It's been absolutely terrific. Thank you all so much.
Thank you all so much. And with this, we would like to extend the thanks, many, many thanks to people behind the scenes, the technical crew, virtual concert halls. These are also professional musicians. And I shouldn't even say also. Professional musicians, performers, educators, who are offering their time, effort, and newly learned skills to support these programs from the technical side, support the beautiful sound and the beautiful flow of the program. Thank you to our
Thank you
virtual
all.
concert halls. Thank you to the viewers. Thank you to guests. Thank you to my co-host, Margaret. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure.
And
Beethoven.
thank you to Beethoven and his celebration of his anniversary. Thank you to music and to love, to connection. we will be back with more soon.
Absolutely. Goodbye.